Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, friends. Presented by DraftKings. 2022, The Masters. Picks, bets, preview, one and done. Andercurse, injuries. We got it all covered here for you on the Super Show. If you missed any of the two previous episodes, the Research Show with Justin Ray, the DraftKings Millie Maker picks with Ben Raza, and Tyler Tambellini, Toe Tag and Tambo, go check those out on Mayo Media Network after you consume this show. Sub to the network, smash the like, give me your winner down in the comment section. Plus, I need you to play in the gigantic one and done at fantasygolfchampionships.com. $100 to play from the Masters through the Open Championship, $10,000 to first prize. I'm giving away a free entry right now. We asked you to do all of the things. People did them, and this guy won. Mitchapalooza on Twitter. Check your DMs. You got a free entry into the one and done. But that's not all the giveaways that we have this week. If you follow me on Twitter at the PME, I'll be doing Millie Maker ticket giveaways. But I got the Masters swag straight from the Augusta National store on the grounds. All you need to do is subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Make up something nice about the show. Leave your Twitter handle or email address in the review, and boom, you are in that draw. We'll be giving away the winners next Monday on the Masters Recap Show. But here's what you can get. And if you subscribe to the newsletter down in the description, you can see pictures of all of this stuff in the Monday night newsletter. That'll be coming a bit later. You get this trucker's hat. That's pretty good. We got some visors. This sweater that I think that both Fienberg and I have. It's a size large, by the way. And this handsome Masters black polo. I think Andercust has that one. So I'm giving away 3 of those items, so I can keep a few for random giveaways throughout the year. But go do that right now. Sub to the podcast, rate and review. Honestly, we need these reviews. It's a big week for us. We're trying to get to number 1 in golf, in betting, in fantasy, and we need your help to do it. All right, play in the Listeners League. That is down in the description. There's only 2,000 spots left. I told them to make it as big as possible. We didn't fill the match play, so they didn't. I mean, listen, it's their rake-free money. They're not making a cent off this tournament because they're not taking any rake. We didn't fill it, so we only got 5,000 spots. And 3,000 of them are gone before Monday. So go get your spot if you want to play in the best tournament on DraftKings. And then we got the newsletter, like I mentioned. The Sunday night one's already out. My write-up's already out. We got all of it covered. All right, we got the housekeeping all done. Just remember to rate and review. Share the show around, too. We'll be doing some giveaways. If you share this on Twitter, retweet, all that good stuff, you might get some extra consideration. So whenever you see a show pop up, boom, you'll be good to go. Geoff Fienberg is on the line, and we were speaking before the show that we only have like a bet in yet. I'm kind of in analysis paralysis right now because I don't know who to take at the top.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it. It's Masters Week, Pat, and I think I have the betting yips at the moment. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to hit submit. I, punted for so long, made my one Adam Scott future. We have our baby Peters bet, but whatever. And I just figured to get to Masters Week, and I know which elites I want to hammer, and I'd hammer them, or I'd bet them hard. And we're here, and I honestly don't know. And I also want to throw in, I seen your lot, and that black polo is so sharp. You wouldn't think like a black polo and the Masters would like kind of go together, unless it's Andercurse, because Cust owns one. It was the sharpest piece in the lot.
He might not own the black one. He might actually have like the vintage green one. I can't remember. I suppose we can ask him here in a minute, but I think that's what we need to do first. The process of the Masters betting card is actually just getting rid of people, because you look at the top 30 guys, you're like, yeah, I can see those guys winning. And you're like, well, I can't bet them all. So what am I going to do? Well, you have to start making cases against players. And usually, as I wrote up in the newsletter last night, I made a case for Spieth. I don't want to really bet Spieth, but I think it's important to make a case for and a case against every single player. And then you can weigh the pros and cons for everything. You can't just blindly say, well, I don't like that guy. Like, is there a case that you can make for them? And I made one for Spieth. It's not a difficult case to make for Spieth. He's won here before, plays well every single year. But even some of his underlying metrics so far in 2022 don't like point to him winning, but they're not as bad as maybe the results seem. So there's different angles that we can tackle on this. But let's try to whittle down this list. That's the important part right now. So let's bring him in, the master of the curse, to find out the 3 most Andercurse players at Augusta National. It is Tim Andercust.
Andercust.
That is not my name.
You're via the phone. People are so used to having you in studio now.
I know, it's a throwback to way back in the day when it was only phones.
Yeah, you're not even on like your microphone at home or anything like that. You got like the bad connection. This is a real throwback interview.
This really is. This is if people like to go back in history and remember what the Pat Mayo experience was like 12 years ago, this is it.
This was the conditions during the birth of the curse, you could say then.
Well, that's debated as to when the quote-unquote birth of a quote-unquote curse began. I mean, some say that it doesn't exist at all. In fact, most people say it doesn't exist. Some people say it exists but started at a Kentucky Derby. Others say it started at the Masters. Others say it started the day I was born. There's a lot of debate about it.
I would say that it started with 8 bells when you killed a horse on the track at the Kentucky Derby. Feel like it was popularized when Jordan Spieth just started tanking into the water on number 12, which allowed us to cash in all the Danny Willett bets. Jeff, has anyone, despite the monetary value attached to Willett winning that Masters, did the curse ever help out anyone as much as you and me?
That was a very profitable day. It helped build the brand for you. It helped build the show. Yeah, quite a day that went on to have lasting impact, I guess we could say.
Yeah, people still bring up the Willett thing to me. I'm still living off it because I haven't hit a winner in ages. I would like to hit a winner this week. So, Tim, tell us who we should not be taking. Who are your power rank, your 3 picks for the Masters?
Yes, as everybody knows, here at the U.S. Masters, I always make 3 picks.
Fuck off
and
with
so
the U.S. Masters.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's the name of the tournament. There's a British Masters. That's not this. This is the U.S. Masters. That's what you'll find.
That's actually not true. It's called the Masters Tournament is what it's called.
Well, I mean, it depends where you look. For example, DraftKings calls it the U.S. Masters.
Yeah, that's a nomenclature thing, so it doesn't get doubled up in the system when there's a different Masters that comes around. But the tournament's name
there's a British Masters.
Yeah, there's a British Masters. This isn't called the U.S. Masters, though. It's just the Masters.
Look, there's the U.S. PGA. There's a U.S. That's the way I look at these things. Who do I like at Augusta this week? 3 people that I'm looking at. The third pick, so the one I have least confidence, but I feel really good about, is Mark Leishman. I think this is a good course for him. I expect him to play well. Second is Adam Scott, former champion. I think he's going to play a really good golfer. He's been playing decent golf. I quite like Adam Scott. But my winner is Dustin Johnson. As long as he avoids stairs all week and he plays, I think he's going to win. He's also a past champion. I think he is a little undervalued. I don't think a lot of people are talking about DJ in the way they ought to be. I think DJ wins this thing. I actually feel better about, as a big game hunter, I sort of have a good sense of when I'm on and when I'm off about stuff. And I feel really good about this. I think DJ is going to win. But if it's not him, Scott or Leishman are right there.
This is bad.
I know.
This is bad. It also shows sort of how out of the bubble Tim is, because I would say of the elite players, DJ's the one that's drifted the shortest in the last couple weeks just because of how great he finished the players, that match play run to the Final Four, and a win, and like 5 top 10s in the Masters in the last 6 years. So he is being talked about, but Tim, this is bullshit, man.
What do you mean?
I guess it's hard to avoid. I don't know. I've been sitting on fences, so I can't be mad about the DJ thing, but I've been talking up Adam Scott since Christmas, and you wasted all my time.
And he kept doing this to you throughout the course of the year. It was like the 8th time you picked Adam Scott.
I really like Adam Scott this year. I thought he was going to have a good year. And yeah, I picked him. I actually used him at Phoenix, where I think he finished 4th. I wanted to use him at Sawgrass, but of course couldn't. I would have used him again this week. A former Masters champ. If his putting is good, I mean, another guy I think you should look out for, he's not my pick, but if he has a decent putting week, Mackenzie Hughes can win this thing too. He's a deep pick, but watch out for him.
With Brooks Koepka of Canada?
Well, yeah. I'm writing someone like Brooks off. I think Brooks and Spieth you can write off.
Okay, so Brooks and Spieth have no chance is what you're telling us right now?
I think I would be shocked. I think you're setting your money on fire if you bet on Brooks or Spieth this week, personally.
Okay. What about Will Zalatoris?
I think he overperformed last year, so listen, could he win? Sure. I wouldn't be shocked. Oh, Rory. Get him off here, too. Rory's not completing this Grand Slam. It's not happening. Write Rory off, too. So there you go. There's 3 write-offs to go with my 3 picks, right? Rory, Brooks, and Spieth off. They're not winning. That's a waste of your money and time.
The write-offs are more powerful than the picks.
Yeah, can you tweet out that GIF of the old lady lighting money on fire with those 3 names next to it? That'll really get the people going.
I can. I mean, this is, I don't know how this works for SEO purposes, but like, should I wait until the show is posted?
Yeah, just wait a little because I don't want the numbers to crash.
Yeah, what you want to do is wait till I tweet the show out, tag you in it, and then do the retweet with the GIF, and we'll be off to the races.
I mean, that's fine. It's how I feel. Those 3 golfers, I think, it's a lost cause to bet on them. Spieth had one good tournament really this year against nobodies. Even if he had won that tournament, it would have been against nobodies, and who would have cared if he won the American Express? Koepka played well at Phoenix, which is a course he's played well at. But you know what? I haven't been super impressed by Brooks Koepka. And Rory, like, when's the last time that I was super impressed by Rory? He's not the dominating player that he has been in years past. And the extra pressure for Augusta, I mean, great. Let's say he's the 3rd round leader. He's going to put the ball out of bounds 3 times at Augusta on Sunday. It's just what's going to happen. He's not going to handle it. So, yeah, you write those 3 guys off. I wouldn't be shocked if 2 of the 3 don't even make the cut. Maybe all of them.
I might be betting 2 of the 3.
It's what, top 50 and everyone within 10? That's the cut rule?
No, there's no within 10 anymore. I misspoke on the research show and I think the DraftKings show. Then I went and looked it back up. It's like, oh no, when they had the COVID Masters in 2020 in November, they had to get rid of the top within 10 strokes of the lead because they couldn't have like 70 people make the cut because they would never get the tournament in because
of daylight.
Because of the daylight, right. But then they just kept it last year. And frankly, to make the cut parlay purposes, I really enjoyed the within 10 because that once upon a time won us a lot of money. When we got a shot tracker error on the Masters app and Griot all of a sudden didn't make a bogey, made a birdie, and won like a 13-leg parlay, that was fantastic news. It was on my birthday too. Great news. Great night that night. But it's just top 50 and ties now.
Just top 50 and ties. Okay, fair enough. And it's less than that because you've got 10 guys on that list who have no chance of making the cut, right?
Well, your main arch nemesis from the past 10 years, Ian Woosnam, no longer playing.
I know, but then Phil also can't play. So it was like the cost of losing a rival and gaining and also losing a hero.
So
I'm shocked.
You're still on Team Phil after all of this?
I mean, I'm just disappointed with his actions, but like I've been rooting for Phil my whole life. So, one doesn't just abandon their favorite player out of nowhere.
Did you know?
Hopefully he's back to defend his title at Southern Hills.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that at the time. I'm guessing that's when he's going to come back, but who knows? We don't have any word on Tiger yet. Do you think the Tiger's playing?
Yes, I do think he plays.
That's not good news for him.
I do think he plays. I don't know how well he'll play. I kind of think he'll make the cut, play early on the weekend, and that'll be great for television, that there'll be someone to focus on early on Saturday and Sunday. Because I think he makes the cut, but he's not really in contention.
Jeff, do we have to blindly play a Spieth, Rory Brooks to make the cut, Dustin Scott Leishman to miss the cut parlay? Because that pays 71-1.
Yeah, there's definitely some, I guess, exotics that we're going to have to line up now, on Tim's words. Tim has
there's no Richmond Spiders to parlay your winner with this time, so I don't know what you're going to do.
Hey, I sent them on a run, didn't I, those Richmond Spiders?
I think they won 1 game, but yes.
So is there anyone we should be looking at as a curse as it goes along? Because this is the first time in 2 years on any of the major shows that you haven't picked Louis as one of your top 3 picks. So if he makes a birdie on the first hole when he's on the course, are you going to be like, it's over for Louis, and then all of a sudden he's cursed? What if Westwood ends up in the mix?
I mean, you know the sorts of people that if they start to contend, I will be behind. Louis, Zach Johnson, Westwood, all those guys. I'll be on them. Stuart Sink. Patrick Harrington, who played really well at the PGA, so it's not like he hasn't played well in a while. Like, if any of those older guys or veterans or people that everyone knows I like start to play well, I can't help myself.
All right. Do you have any final Masters
fair
thoughts?
warned is forearmed.
Yeah, I think that viewers of the show know that, but new viewers need to know who you're going to eventually put the curse on. I feel like this is good news.
Oh, yeah.
This is good news for Louis, though, that he didn't make the original 3. This could be all he needs to get over the hump.
Maybe. I guess the proof in the pudding will be in the eating of it. He has played well at this course before, obviously, with a playoff couple of years ago. So he's a good player and he can compete. Last thought. Oh, yeah, people have been asking. I don't see an ace coming this week. I know it often comes up on 16. I don't see it. I think this is going to be a hole-in-one free tournament. So if that's an available bet for you, I like the no hole-in-one this week.
Geoff, do you have any questions for Tim before we get it? We have to record the Custies at some point to figure out which one of you is the most insane to see how the people voted.
Yeah, I was waiting for his meme team to sort of make, maybe they can make one of Will Smith slapping Adam Scott.
That's actually a pretty good one. If you only knew how to use Photoshop, this would be so easy.
Geoff sitting there saying, with Geoff sitting in the crowd saying, keep the name of my bet out of your mouth.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Well, look, I'm rooting for you. I hope your Adam Scott bet wins. I think you have a really good chance of winning it. I still think DJ's going to win. He's my one and done. But Adam Scott's got a real shot. If he can just settle his putting down, then that's all I need to see. He'll be right there in the mix. Why wouldn't he be?
No hole-in-one is plus 120. To have a hole-in-one is minus 163 at the moment.
That's so silly. I mean, look, I know holes-in-one happen at this tournament. Like, how many years have you personally played golf and never seen a hole-in-one in your life? And the odds of it happening over 4 rounds is just so slim. Like, it can happen, but it's freakish to imagine that's going to happen, that it's likelier to happen than not. I just don't see it. I think if, people who've golfed their whole lives know just how rare holes-in-one are. For you to expect one to happen at this tournament is just nonsense. It may very well happen, but I don't think it does. I like no hole-in-one. Mark that down. And I'll be coming to collect my credit for
me. Shame on you. This guy just correlated an ability for there to be a hole-in-one with the greatest golfers on earth on a course that the slopes can play perfection to the hole, to you going out there gas canning the par 3s you play on, friend. Because you can't do it. And you don't do it. You and your friends don't make hole-in-ones. Think of all the times you and your friends have played. You don't make hole-in-ones. Therefore,
I've been golfing for 20 plus years of my life. Maybe, yeah. Therefore, I've been playing like 25 years of golf in my life. Never seen a hole-in-one. Never been with a group. Never had one. Never saw it behind me or heard it behind me. Never saw it in front of me. I'm sorry. Obviously, they happen. But the odds of it, for us to say that it's likely to
Bernhard
happen
Langer was playing in the hole ahead of you.
I'm just saying it's not going to happen. It's unlikely to happen. You might have betting no on the hole-in-one is like betting heads on the coin toss at the Super Bowl. You're laying juice when the odds are off. Didn't
heads hit this year?
Yes, it did, but you still had to eat juice to lay it.
But you want to bet tails at juice.
Hold on.
Okay,
Tim.
But I'm just taking your argument.
This isn't a coin. When was the last time a hole-in-one didn't happen at the Masters?
Like 2 years ago.
Are you sure?
No, but I feel like 2 years ago because I feel like I took a victory lap about it.
I think
you could be right.
No, I think he took a victory lap at the U.S. Open, potentially, because this is just the bet that you make. I feel like it's been like 10 years since there wasn't a hole-in-one at the Masters.
But, the thing is, he could be right. He could be right. There could be no hole-in-one. His logic is dumb as shit.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
My logic is that it's really, really, really hard to get a hole-in-one. And to say it's likely, it's not like it happens every week on the PGA Tour. It doesn't happen most weeks on the PGA Tour.
It happens most weeks on the Yes, it does. But it does happen most weeks on the PGA Tour.
The correlation to you and the farm fields you're playing and the people playing in front of you, behind you, and with you is as insane as anything you've ever said.
Oh, you say that so often that I don't know what that means.
That's fair.
And, I know you're upset because you know you've lost the vote and you're just waiting for the returns to come in where you have to spend a whole year with your phone or board saying insane person, where I get to have a thing in front of me that says sane all year. I know that bothers you, but look, I'm telling you a hole-in-one is not going to happen. It's just not. It's less likely than not. It's likelier not to happen than to happen. The odds are off on it. Bet the no, you can't lose.
What do you think about Scotty Scheffler this week?
I mean, he obviously has been playing fantastic. The best golfer in the world by the numbers right now, right? He's been playing great golf. But I don't know. I mean, I have no juice for him. I'm not excited for him, and I'm not against him. I'd be curious to see if he gets into the heat of the battle of this major, what happens. But I don't have strong feelings. I'll be honest.
All right, those were your final thoughts. That, friends, was Mr. Insane Person, Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
All right, that was his name, and we're going from someone who is completely insane in Tim Andercust into someone with an awful lot of credibility, but you probably don't know him too much from golf, but huge golf fan, ESPN insider Adam Schefter is on the line. Do you get the same sort of access for golf injuries because injury reports in golf are non-existent as you do for football?
Well, Pat and Geoff, first of all, thank you for having me. And no, you will not find many people who are more interested in golf tracking it than me. I've gotten so into it over the last 4 or 5 years. I have had the occasion to exchange texts with some of the caddies. That's kind of my way of breaking in, I guess, and get information about who looks good. But in golf, how do you ever know who's going to look good? And how do you know who's going to be hot a certain week? And it's always so hard to predict, but I've tried to give them fancy football tips when they've texted me, as they have, for a little insight into my sport.
Well, every morning when I wake up during football season on Sunday, I get the injury dump overnight. Be like, okay, this guy's not going to play. This guy is going to play.
Yeah.
Really, helps us out when we're either playing fantasy, daily fantasy, making bets on these things. There is no injury report in golf, and how could there be?
No.
These are just dudes out there. We got 6 guys this week. Tiger, who knows? It's probably going
Tiger's
to play.
playing. Tiger's playing. You heard it here first, Pat. He's playing.
I like it. We needed that to counteract our guest from earlier, who is the biggest mush in the world, who also said he was playing. So I need to hear that. Do you think he's going to be okay, though?
Well, I don't think he'd be playing if he wasn't okay. Now, again, the question is, how good is he going to be? And for as much history as he has authored there in Augusta, can you imagine if he was even in contention this week? It would be incredible to see. I would never underestimate him in any circumstance. It'll be interesting to see how he navigates the course and the injury and getting back. But I'd be floored if he didn't play this week.
Me too, and I'm with you on that. I don't think winning good, but top 10 good, I can see it.
I don't that I'll defer to you guys. That's where you tell me what you think he's going to do. Right. I'm as curious as everybody else to see the guy. We know how comfortable he is on that course, and there's always something to be said for that. I just, again, the way this is lining up, the way he's not doing this not to play in the Masters this week. No way.
Geoff, two against one now, I see.
That's not true. I do believe he's going to play. I just question how good he would be.
That's fair.
And I think his expectations might be a little different. I think him shooting a 74 and being able to feel like he can go out the next day and walk it again could be successful. I just think we could have differentiations on what his expectations are, this close to maybe having lost his leg, and what, sort of lights his fire, as me and Pat debated. I don't know, if they ask me who do I think is going to play better, Sergio Garcia, Shane Lowry, or Tiger Woods, I'd have a hard time saying Tiger Woods.
That's fair. I can't argue with anything there, Geoff. That's fair. But what makes it so appealing and so intoxicating is just that we've seen this guy do things that nobody thought he could. And so you wanted to see, can he do that again in this circumstance? Come on. No, right? He can't do it again, can he?
It'd be incredible. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah. On behalf of ESPN, we thank Tiger for playing on Thursday and Friday.
Are you going to be involved in the broadcast at all?
Not to my knowledge. Nobody's contacted me yet. I actually did volunteer my services to a producer at ESPN. I said, if you want an extra golf report, I said, I'm not interested in taking away anybody's work or doing anything like that. But if you needed somebody to be an extra golf reporter at the PGA event, where is it, Oklahoma in May, right?
Yeah.
Southern Hills, yeah.
Southern Hills, yeah. I said I would gladly volunteer to do that. Now, I have not heard back from anybody, so I would take it that wouldn't be the case. But I would love to do more and more golf reporting. I think it would be kind of cool. I went to the Masters last year, and I remember talking to a couple of PGA officials, and they're like, hey, It'd be fun to have more insiders involved in golf. So in the next phase of my career, when I get a little older, that might be something that I would look at doing.
I would think that the
Golf
lift
could use it.
Yeah, golf could not only use it. I would feel like the lift is a little bit easier than the grind, the 12-month grind that is the NFL. The problem is, and I've experienced this, and I don't know how you are with it, that you like watching golf. You like golf.
Love.
I really like the NBA, and no one really knows that about me. I enjoy to consume it as a fan. The moment it would become work for me is the moment I wouldn't like it anymore, I think. And I don't want to see you have that problem with golf. I just don't want to see it.
Well, you know what the deal is, Pat? Basically, what drew me into these sports, basketball, which I love watching all the time, and golf, is fantasy, to be perfectly frank. I play in a golf fantasy pool where basically I play with a bunch of guys over at Roto World. We play in we did an auction draft back in January. And me and my friend at ESPN, Kyle Soppe, who's a fantasy researcher, we did an auction team together against all the Roto World guys. And Kyle would have to give me the standing, but where we're at. But I think we're high up there right now. We have a pretty good team. We've got Will Zalatoris, Terrell Hatton, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, Cameron Tringali, Charlie Hoffman, and Jason Kokrak, who is Kyle Soppe's guy. And we're waiting for Kokrak to have a good week. He's been very disappointing so far.
Well, hopefully for you that you start getting like the new Saudi tour money, because I think Kokrak might be over there sooner rather than later.
Well, but we're still in a pretty good year. And then I'm also in another pool with a couple of friends, 2 different entries where you pick one golfer every week, and you win points for each corresponding dollar that golfer wins. Last year, my friends and I were in the pool for the first time. We won the pool, and I can't tell you how I watched every one of my shots from every golfer that I picked every week. Like, it was unbelievable. And so I'm already like that this year, watching all the shots, and now I have to figure out who I'm picking this week for the Masters. It's a very difficult decision, as I'm sure you guys know very well.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem that Jeff and I are having right now. Is we look at the top 20 players, and it's like, oh yeah, I could see that guy winning. But Jeff, go ahead.
Yep.
I'm going to maybe put you on the spot a little, but as an avid golf fan like Pat and I, and out of football season, you get to watch it a ton. Would you have a critique for the broadcast to make it better? Because it's frustrating. We don't see a lot of shots. There's a lot of riffraff. I say in football, be like going away on 3rd down and just telling me what happened. Like the hardcore fan is so underserviced, in my opinion. Would you have any suggestions that are actually, capable of putting into practice?
Jeff, I never thought about it that way. I do know this. Again, you're picking golfers, and I think that golf is a beautiful sport, and it's great, but I really believe that the popularity of golf and football and basketball in recent years has been driven by people's ability to play it on one of these fantasy sites, make a DFS lineup, bet on a certain golfer. And so inevitably you're on a certain guy. What I remember last year is, I'm trying to remember what it was. Maybe it was the US Open or the British Open. It was a major of some sort. And I could not believe how much coverage there was of Rory McIlroy. Like, every shot of his was broadcast. And I'm thinking, I don't remember where it was the US Open where I had John Rahm, or it was another. And I'm like, can we watch my guy at all? And so I don't know how to do that. I would think in this day and age, we're going to be at a spot here eventually where even on ESPN Plus this week at the Valspar in San Antonio, Corey Connors is my guy. I watched all of his rounds on ESPN Plus, right? And so I was able to zoom in on him. I wanted to watch every shot that he hit, and I did. So I think that in this day and age where people are filling out fantasy lineups and have season-long fantasy pools and pick guys on a weekly basis, they want to watch their guy, period. I don't know who I'm picking yet for the Masters, but I know that I want to watch every shot that he hits Thursday and Friday.
The issue is going to be, because I think Augusta, although ESPN is the partner, still controls but they show a lot. But they were the best ones at showing everything anyway. Like, they have their feeds of Amen Corner. They have the 16 and 17, or the 15 and 16 feed, plus the featured groups. And ESPN Plus has done a great job with taking over the early round golf coverage. So far, because Golf Channel is like useless when it comes to this stuff. You see 3 guys for 4 hours, and it's the same guys that you can watch in the feature group. The players, you can go live to every single player, but that's the only tournament. Obviously, logistically, it's really difficult, but you're right. I think that the more we expand with betting, with DraftKings, daily fantasy, and the more people get into that and they have real money on the line, they're going to want to see, I don't know, Padraig Harrington in their Minwoo Lee matchup. It might only be 5 people, but they're going to want to have that out there, I think, for most of these.
Hey, by the way, like if we translate that over to football, one of the reasons that people will tune into, let's just say, a Tennessee-Jacksonville game on Sunday afternoon is because somebody's got the Titans running back, somebody's got the Jaguars wide receiver, somebody's got the Titans defense. So that drives the popularity of the sport and drives ratings up. And it's going to be no different for people who are into fantasy golf in that regard. There's a reason that I'm watching every shot that Corey Connors hit over the weekend, right? So that's what it's the same thing, just over in golf.
All we need is green zone. Green zone like red zone, and we'll be good to go. The no fluff. Here are the shots. Live odds boards. Get a sponsor up there. Help that pay for it. And then that's all we really need to do, I think, to get this off the ground. But Jeff and I have been talking about this for 5 years, and no one really seems to care because, as we all know, the PGA Tour may be a bit slow to react than maybe some of the other leagues.
Yeah, well, again, I think there's a lot of potential there, and it's up to the brain trust in the golf world to figure it out. But I really believe that just like football's taken it to the next level, there's no reason that golf can't do the same thing.
All right, before we let Jeff ask his question, I know you don't know who you're picking yet, but what we like to do on the show, and as we're about to do in a second, whittle it down at the very top. Like we have to try to cross off. We have like 4 or 5 names, and we need to pick 1 or 2 of that bucket. Do you have a bucket of guys that you're looking at now?
I do. I'm a little apprehensive about revealing it, lest the people tuning in. So I might throw some names into the pool that wouldn't be there, but. Yeah, here's guys that I would think would be logical, right? Like everybody loves Jon Rahm. It's hard not to like him. He's got a great history on the course. He hasn't played like Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm, God, I love that guy. I mean, he's just so good, but he just hasn't been himself lately. Now that doesn't mean that on Thursday he steps onto the course, goes 6 under, and we say, "Oh, Jon Rahm's back. There he is," right? Like that. That's what makes golf so unpredictable, and so confounding because you just have no idea how this is going to happen. But I think, Rahm is a guy you look at. What is JT's course history in Augusta?
Good. Very good.
Or great? Very good.
It's very good. It's like on, off, like a lot of guys that eventually win the match. Very better than Sergio, but similar in his lead up.
Okay. Well, what's the highest finish he's had there? Do we know that?
I believe it's 5th.
Okay, well that's encouraging. I think he's playing right now. Like he's got the right stuff. I think Colin Morikawa is somebody that who could have predicted him winning the British Open last year. That's the perfect example where he has been up and down, hit and miss, and then couldn't you see him coming out and just blowing up the course and doing great, right?
I would. I mean, that's who I'm picking to win, so I'm with you.
Dustin Johnson has won on this course and rises up to the majors and is playing better. I could see Dustin Johnson. Okay. Will Zalatoris comes in for the first time last year and almost wins it last year. The guy is a budding superstar. Wouldn't it be just like him to win it right now? And again, I'll ask you guys, Pat and Jeff, Cam Smith's history here. Good, right?
We bet Cam Smith at this tournament every year. The problem is he was 40-1 to 80-1 all those years. Now he's 16-1. It's not great.
But what's his highest finished year?
He finished second in the Dustin Johnson year.
Yeah. See. Okay, and I'll give you another guy that I think is going to win one of these things at some point. And here's a little bit outside the box. I got a couple more names for you. Matthew Fitzpatrick is waiting to win a major.
Yeah.
Right? And Sam Burns has never played here. Sam Burns is going to be a superstar too. Yeah. Could Sam Burns show up and do Will Zalatoris last year?
Yes, he could.
Absolutely.
In about 20 minutes time, Jeff and I have that exact discussion on this show.
So let me see who else. Like again, I've started to construct some lineups, right? Like just looking at things of people I liked. Let's take a look at this here. So
Who don't you like? Who's
I'll
a
tell you what.
fade for Adam this week?
Rory McIlroy,
Ooh, okay.
who could always shift the conversation, has a great history at Augusta. Great history at Augusta. And by the way, if he were to win and complete the Grand Slam here, we'd be talking about him as one of the great European golfers of all time, and he would change the narrative about him. I prove me wrong, and this will probably show you how foolish I am when he wins it this week. But he just seems off. He just seems off to me. Don't trust him.
And let me get your opinion, Adam, on, I mean, you deal with the alphas in the NFL all the time. Brooks Koepka, for us who like to bet on this stuff, he's 20-1. There's he's the ultimate major championship player. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's been healthy at this event. He certainly wasn't healthy on it last year, but in his runs before, he was second to Tiger. He craves the moment. At
Augusta?
Yeah, he was second to Tiger, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. Tied with Dustin Johnson, who was also second.
Wow.
At the courses he's historically played well at.
Wow.
He's already played well at this year, Phoenix and in Palm Beach. So, is he a guy that auto fire on, or he's very polarizing? There seems to be Team Brooks and they want him to keep winning. And there's sometimes guys like me who love so many players and want to see other players get some of the glory and share some of the majors. So where do you stand on Brooks?
Here's where I stand on Brooks. Brooks Koepka is one of the greatest golfers in the world. Brooks Koepka could win any tournament that he's in. Brooks Koepka is incredible at what he does. But when you asked me for the names, that wasn't the first name that came to my head. Again, I could be proven wrong there again, right? Like I brought up Rory McIlroy. He's the only golfer with 6 top 10 finishes at the Masters since 2014, but he missed the cut last year, right? John Rahm, we brought him up. Average round score 70.3 is the best in Masters history. How can you not like him? Koepka, it's just one of those things. You put it on and you just see like, okay, it's good Brooks or it's indifferent Brooks, right? But the guy is, he's elite. He's elite. What else are we going to say about him? Do you trust him this week? You tell me.
I think I do. Yeah, he missed the cut at the Masters once in his life. It was last year when he couldn't bend over. It's just, besides Tiger, no one has a better Masters track record basically in history in terms of like top tens.
Wow.
It's like Tiger, Jack, and Brooks.
Wow.
DJ's probably close on that too.
Yeah,
Dustin Johnson has the best score to par, -35 at the Masters since 2016.
Yeah, he's peaking.
He is.
He is peaking, right? Like, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There, you could make an argument this year for 25 guys, and then there's probably 25 more that are good enough that could come out of nowhere and win this.
And this is the problem. This is why I'm going to lose all my money this week. It sucks. I just got to, hopefully, the roulette wheel lands on my guy. Hopefully, we all seem to be on Will Zalatoris. Maybe that can be the guy. Or even,
you know who I like as a guy? Like, again, I'm probably ahead of the curve on this one, but I just think he's a great golfer, and he did well at this event last year. He didn't do so great this past week. Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, we got our bets in already.
Yeah. I bet $10 on him last week at 41-1 to win the Valspar. He was a little flat, but it's the way it goes. I think he's really, and he tore it up here last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was 12th. You got to just lefties at the Masters. Weir won. Mickelson won 3 times. Bubba won twice.
Why is that? Why is that?
Inherent shot shape, I guess. Like the holes just cater towards lefties.
That's interesting. Okay, so now we're picking Robert McIntyre to win this week, huh?
Robert McIntyre, top UK player. There's always these fun markets for the Masters. I mean, they happen every week, but they're really juiced for the Masters. So you could probably get best Great
This is the great part of golf, right? It used to be, and again, I'm semi-new to the party over the last 5, 6, 7 years, but it used to be what? It was always Tiger and Phil, and how many other great golfers were there? Vijay Singh, right? Like, now it seems like there are so many good golfers. Am I wrong?
You are
They're
correct.
good and they're young and they're
Yeah.
ready to win right away, Adam. It's, as me and Pat discuss often, at Christmas time last year, Morikawa was the flavor of the month. Couldn't be beaten. At Christmas, it was Hovland racking up all those worldwide wins.
Another great golfer.
Now it's Scheffler who's on his heater and beat both of them to number one in the world. And just Will Zalatoris, who we all like this week, he's never even won an event. But if he wins this, that changes everything forever.
Right.
Also, me and Pat have joked many times, there's no surprise a lot of those guys wanted to go chase that Saudi money because winning golf tournaments looks like it's going to be hard for anyone north of 32 and on the PGA these days.
Last year, what is the name of the tournament in New Jersey? I'm drawing a blank at it right now.
The Northern Trust.
Northern Trust. So I was invited out last year in the throes of my golf madness when we were sitting in first place in the pool, and they gave me an inside the ropes pass, which was unbelievable. And I had Jordan Spieth that week, and I followed him, Cantlay, and Morikawa. It was a great threesome to follow. Whoa. And after the round, I remember bumping into, as I was leaving, Matt Kuchar, who I had never met before. I haven't met a lot of these guys before, but I remember talking to him, and I was fascinated when you talk about how hard it is to win. I said, how do you do this when basically if you win one tournament a year, that's great. And more likely than not, you're finishing like 8th or 20th or 50th. And he said something to me to the effect of, hey, if you finish 20th, that's a win. Like you placed 20th, and that's how you have to think about it. And I've never trained my brain to think, well, if you finish 18th, that's great. Like 18th is behind 17 other people. But I think these guys think 18th, that's a nice payday. It's a good, strong showing, and let's take pride in that, right?
Yeah. As Kevin Kisner says, they pay pretty good for 20th, Adam. And 18th, you're right, you lost to 17 guys. You also beat 130 of them, too.
You know what? And my brain is not wired like that in football where you win or you lose, black or white, no gray. But to finish 18th, that's a win. So Matt Kuchar had a great tournament this past weekend. And maybe he didn't win it, but he still played great and he still cashed in, right?
There are guys on tour who are like that. The one guy, I mean, there's probably a bunch of guys who are not, but Tiger Woods is not like that. And I think that you and I are reading the same tea leaves about that. He's not coming back to be to T37. He's just not doing it.
Well, that's Tiger. That's one of the reasons that has made him who he is over the years, and one of the reasons that we're also intrigued to see what he'll do this week once he does play.
Jeff, you got.
And by the way, we should add that we're taping this at 11:30 a.m. on Monday, right?
This is correct. Yeah. So when we're wrong, listen, people do not hold this show to a standard where we give out betting advice that's always wrong. Somehow people come back all the time. So
it's always wrong.
I mean, not always wrong. The majority of the time it's wrong. That's also the great thing about golf betting. Lose. One win is the odds are so great that it makes up for a month of bad bets.
Last year, when we won our golf pool, it was spread over 24 weeks. We picked the winning golfer in 2 of the 24 tournaments, and we won the pool, right? We had Justin Thomas in the Players last year, and then we had Jon Rahm in the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. And when Jon Rahm hit those final 2 putts, I will say it was believe it or not, it was one of the 5 greatest sporting moments of my life. And that's the truth. And that's why one day I hope to meet Jon Rahm, shake his hand, thank him for the happiness that he brought me on Father's Day when I picked him in the pool and he allowed me to finish first there. It was unbelievable. Like, my wife came running. She's like, "What are you yelling about?" I'm like, he made the putt. Like, I was flipping out. So it was awesome.
I can tell you that your wife doesn't think that way when it goes the wrong way, and that's not what you're yelling at the TV when the guy misses the putt, because my wife has become very familiar with those words.
Well, again, the sport really lends itself to what we're talking about in the rise in popularity and being in some of these pools and picking a golfer to win. It juices it up.
Before we let you go, and Jeff asks his one Chargers question, which is going to be tough for him.
Yeah,
you got Robert McIntyre down there. who we're both on. But if you're going to fill out like the bottom of your DraftKings lineups, give a look to our guy, Kim. That's where you want to go. Loves the
problem with him, and boy, he's a streaky golfer. I had him a couple of times last year, and he WD'd with a back injury. Like, I never trust the guy's back. It flares up, right?
Yeah, but he only does that when he's playing poorly. He doesn't do that at the Masters.
Okay, and he's played well on this course too, right?
Oh yeah, he's made the cut each of the past
year.
Yeah, 12th last
Broke
year.
His putter.
Yeah, he snapped his putter on the course. He had to putt with a 5-wood, but he still came 12th.
Well, he's great. What's his price? What's his price this week?
He's 7,100 on DraftKings. He's 100 to 1 to win. And if he wins, he doesn't need to go to the South Korean military.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, I guess here's the thing: is that when you watch this sport, there are certain guys you just trust and believe in.
No, he's not.
And he's just not high on my list for the trust factor as a guy who's WD'd on me a couple of times. It's just not. So it's hard for me to go there. And again, could he win this? Absolutely. Like I wouldn't be surprised, but he's just not in my trust group right now. That's all.
Yeah, the circle of trust. He's in ours because listen, we lose so often. If he WDs, we'll just move on to next week. Geoff, what one thing do you want to ask Adam Schefter about the Chargers?
See, the funny thing is, I'm just going to be quick.
Okay, hold on. Are you going to say that you're more of an insider than he is of the Chargers because you DM with like the owner?
No, that's not true, and that's a bad subtext to the question. But he John Spanos likes golf too, and at LaDainian's Hall of Fame, we kind of linked up. But that's a separate issue, though, leading to my question. Just want to say Adam gets to do radio hits across the country in these localized markets, and their fans get to hear him, and they get the insights. I don't think that ever happens with the Chargers because I don't know that people care. So it's really hard for me to get Chargers info, and I'm not going macro here, Adam. I'm not going micro. I'm going macro. A lot of rumors about like the Chargers and ownership and the Spanos family and some lawsuits within the family. Is that like from your stance, is that like the hearsay of just a cash grab by a sibling, or is there really something there that can lead to them potentially exiting ownership and taking advantage of the cash grab that LA and the move offered them?
It's an interesting question, Geoff. And what I would say to you is this. I can't answer specifically to that group, but what I can say is some conversations that I've had this offseason with people lead me to believe that the value of these franchises has gone up so much that when people pass on, inevitably, that it sets up a complicating set of factors for that franchise to be kept within the family. We're seeing it unfold in Denver right now. Of course, there's some family bickering there, but there have been a number of franchises that people have pointed to me like, hey, watch this franchise over time. If and when the patriarch, the matriarch, whatever it may be, passes on. And we hope everybody lives long, happy, healthy lives. But the value of these franchises is such that it's become a huge deal, and the tax implications are such that it makes it so that simple transitions may not be so simple in certain places. How about that? Right.
And for a family that I think football is the business. Yeah. They don't own like Home Depot, like the blanks, like that kind of the money and everything. It's kind of a whole new world. They're not coming from huge corporate success to owning the team.
Again, it's I think it's complicated. These are issues that are so far above my pay grade, but I've had people point out to me just that the money involved in the tax bill, the estate planning is such that it may force certain teams to be sold that you wouldn't ordinarily think of as being sold over time. We'll see whether or not that turns out to be true.
Adam Schefter.
Did that answer your question, Geoff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind like Jeff Bezos owning the Chargers. So,
But Jeff Bezos wouldn't mind owning the Chargers also.
Yeah. Well, he might get Washington first, right? Or no?
I don't think he'd have any issues affording what a new contract for Justin Herbert will cost.
Is that implying that the Spanos family will?
That I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, do you realize how big that contract's going to be?
Let's go.
Oh my God!
I'd rather have it than not.
Oh my God! Of course, you want to have to pay your quarterback $500 million.
So they got to win this year, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the stakes in the game, the finances involved, are changing. Look, just like the popularity of golf is changing. Everything's changing all the time. Nothing stays the same. And the money in football is going up, up, up. The value of the franchise is going up, up, up. You saw the Deshaun Watson contract. That's going to change the way the contracts are done in the NFL. And I think it's just going to make it harder for some of the franchises that have been more cash strapped over time to keep pace with some of the teams that are not cash strapped.
Thank you.
Adam Schefter, thank you for the time and coming on. And I think that now that we've talked this through, just you can give a few nudges to people over at ESPN about, hey, maybe we should see all the golf shots, or at least think of a way to make that as easy as possible for the people out there who really want it. Green Zone is the future, I think.
You know what? If Green Zone is the future, I want to be a part of it with you guys. How about that? Like, I want to be on that Green Zone channel.
Listen, they don't listen. They don't listen to me, so maybe they'll listen to you.
I don't think they listen to me either. So, but again, we're happy to volunteer for services of that sort. If anybody is interested, yeah, I would love that. God, I love watching it. I really do. I'm fired up. And what's better than actually having a correct pick, as hard as that is to do? It happens very infrequently. And when you got your guy in it, like, again, in our golf pool, in the Bridgestone match play in Austin, we had Scotty Scheffler.
There it is.
And it was when he was losing his lead to Dustin Johnson early Sunday afternoon, my heart was in my throat. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this guy is going to struggle to hold on to a 5-shot lead here on the back nine. But that's exactly what was happening. And then he rallied together, pulled it out, thankfully, and went on to win the match, which was awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Made my Sunday, made my weekend.
The early victory lap on anything in golf is never advised because it can turn like
never. Oh, let me say this. That's the one thing I've also learned. As quickly as football can change, golf on one shot can it's amazing how quickly a match or a tournament can be turned upside down on its one shot. Like, hey, I'll go back to the U.S. Open last year. It was Saturday. John Rahm hits a shot on a par 3, I believe it was. It hit the flagstick, bounded to the right, and he wound up bogeying the hole when it should have been, it could have been a hole in one. And I was like sick on Saturday night. He was like 4 shots back. I was oh my God, I was distraught.
You're one of us. He's one of us.
I was distraught. Like, he had it. It was in the hole, and then it kicked off to the rough, and he chipped down, and he missed the gimme. I'm like, oh my God. Right.
And then you spend all night thinking about the two-stroke swing and how that sets up for Sunday. It's incredible.
Well, that's my point. These guys, my respect for their mental toughness, because I can't take watching it. Like, Scotty Scheffler, as I'm watching him, my heart's in my throat. I couldn't even imagine trying to play at that time. I was having a hard enough time watching it.
We used to work. They set up the pacing box for me, and it looks like Adam could use a John Rahm pacing box. They used to create Dustin Johnson pacing boxes for me back in the office.
Yeah, it wasn't good that time you had plantar fasciitis.
No.
Yeah. So, by the way, Pat and Jeff, we're right back to it. So again, who's going to win this week? That's the question. Who's going to win this week? By the way, we're sitting here right now, like, we're all struggling for the end, and you're watching it on Saturday, and you're like, of course this guy was going to win. Of course this guy was going to win. It seems so obvious.
I'm going with Morikawa, at least as one of my guys. Two of the last 8 majors have gone to him. No one wants him this week. I'll take all the Morikawa.
2 of the 8. He won the British Open. He won the PGA.
Yeah.
And what's his course history in Augusta?
Played twice. Pretty crappy the first year. T41 was top 20 last year.
Top 20 last year.
Getting it together.
See, that's the one good thing, I think, that's a little, they play it here every year. It's a little predictive, a little bit, right? That you can rely a little bit on course history here, more so than just about anywhere else.
I would agree. I think it's the one course all year where course history really means something versus anywhere else.
Like last year in this event, in my pool, I took Bryson DeChambeau, and I went to the Masters, and I will say this. I remember one of my coworkers at ESPN just extolling how he's going to overpower the course and everything he said. I'm like, boy, this makes sense. I'm going to take Bryson. And I watched him on the first 3 holes. I couldn't watch it. Like, it was like, I can't even watch it. I was so unnerved and so rattled by watching it that, and he didn't have a great course history there, I don't think.
No, he's never really, he played well when he was like an amateur year before he became big, beefy Bryson, but that was it. I think he'll eventually get it together at the Masters, but it's not going to be by overpowering it. Bryson, one of the best course strategists there is. And since he started hitting the long ball, he's really gotten away from it. And that's what you need at the Masters.
Well, that was a hard watch last year when I had him on. That won't be my pick this year, I can tell you that.
Well, it's never fun when you watch your guys just flame out in the first 3 holes. It's not good.
That's you want to have some fun all weekend long. You want your guy to be in it, right? Like, just give my guy, whoever I'm picking, a chance. That's all.
That's all.
Be there on
That's
Sunday.
all we're asking.
Yeah.
Just a heater ticket on Sunday. It's all you can ask for.
But yeah, that boy, when that happens, man, that is an awesome feeling.
Adam Schefter, thanks for the time. Appreciate it so much.
Jeff, I appreciate you guys having me. Let's have a great week of golf. Look forward to seeing Tiger on Thursday on ESPN Plus. And enjoyed it very much.
Well, thank you for coming on. Now, as we try to figure out who is going to win, Jeff and I will be back right after this with a full field breakdown of the betting odds, the one and done, and all the picks. Stay tuned. Time to get into it. Augusta National for the U.S. Masters, apparently. I'll just refer to it as the Masters Tournament. 7,475 yards, but because of the elevation swing, some holes play longer, some holes play shorter. I'd say it probably plays a little bit longer than that, although if you know the local knowledge, get the right bounces, put it to the right parts of the fairway and the green, maybe you can shorten it up a bit. Par 72. Hideki is the defending champion. Obviously, he comes in with consecutive WDs, so Lord knows how injured he really is, how healthy he is. We're not going to know that unless someone asks him. And listen, in the media, no one asks that stuff unless they're part of the Japanese media. Jeff, we've kind of beat around the bush about what we're going to do at the top. And when you look back at the past 10 years worth of Masters winner, outside of Charles Schwartzel in 2011, who was 100-1 when he went off, 50-1 or lower. Even super long shot, Danny Willett, who a lot of us cash at 150-1, 125-1, 100-1. By the week the Masters came around, he was the number 12 player in the world, and he was 50-1. That has been the biggest long shot. Him and Bubba Watson on his first win at 50-1. It's normally 20-1 to 50-1. That's the range that we're looking at. And there's a bunch of guys at DraftKings Sportsbook right now that are really below that. I think that's going to change as we get later in the week because I don't think this many players can be around 20-1, but Rahm is the favorite at 9-1. Scheffler, the number 1 player in the world, 12-1. JT and Cam Smith, both 14. DJ, Tim's pick, 16-1. Then you got Brooks, Xander, Victor, Morikawa, and Rory, all at 20-1. Spieth's at 22. Cantlay's at 25, and that is it. Everyone below 30-1. Some of these guys got to drift as the week goes along, don't they?
You would think so, but the books could be very hyper aware to, how the week plays out, in terms of the win equity in an event like this really doesn't go back very far. And in some ways we've kind of been squeezed out. Now you look around, maybe find some enhanced win sort of markets, let things develop. I think players that people aren't betting will move up a bit, but I don't know how much the market is going to totally change. I expect Rahm to get more points on what you just said, but I don't know how much the market is going to change. I would maybe even Scheffler, because I don't know how popular of a bet he could be at this number.
The ones that had the most interest to me, Because you've made this point a lot, and Rahm was really the one who broke this mold last year, is that first-time major winners don't usually get that win below 20-1. They just don't. They get it at 35 or 33 or 45, whatever it might be. When you become a favorite in a tournament and you've never won a major, generally speaking, you don't win.
That is a huge ask. And in our time together, it's been accomplished by 4 players. And the funny thing is the fact that Scheffler's number 1 in the world now, it kind of maybe can change things. But Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, and Jon Rahm. And pretty much, Jordan won his so fast. But those other 3, we only knew it was like literally a matter of when, not if they would win those majors. So it is a big ask. Also, since we've been doing the show, Pat, first-time major winners, you just pump that 25 to 50 to 1. Guys who have won that first-time major. I mean, in no particular order, every year it is just an enormous list. Shane Lowry, 50. But just speaking of the Masters, Sergio, Reed, Willett, Bubba even being at 55 to 1. Hideki, 40, 45, maybe at a 50. Very kind in that regard. Bryson's US Open 28-30 to 1. Morikawa at the PGA was like 35. That was 25, 35. Even his British Open was 40. Justin Thomas, when he actually won that first major, was a 50 to 1 golfer. So first time major winners, they do have that sweet spot in 25, 50 to 1, trying to pick them under 20. Yeah, it's just been, you really got to just know it's going to happen for them. The thing about the 2 we have this year, Pat, Scotty Scheffler, if you had to rank the majors that suit him best, I don't think this would even be top 2.
He's played
right? Like he just seems so power suited for US Open's PGA championships. That being said, he's gone to every golf course he's gone to seems to work for him.
It's just when you're in trouble, it's a lot like when the year that Sergio won. Remember when he put it into like the other side of the tributary on 13? It's like, oh, well, Rose is going to win now. Sergio's about to make a quad. And then he gets it out of there, scrambles, and he just started making all these 9-foot par putts out of nowhere. I know in the playoff, it took him a bit to end up making that putt, but Scheffler just does that at every event. Every time he's in trouble and needs to get up and down from 100 yards, he puts it to 15 feet and just makes the putt. I don't know how long that can last, but that you're right. That does sound like a U.S. Open. I mean, hell, even British Open, PGA Championship had a more difficult course kind of thing, but he's played this tournament twice. He played in the COVID Masters in November, played it last year. He's finished top 20 both times. Like that is the path that we want to see for someone to break through at the Masters. And legit, no one's like he and Cameron Smith are both basically playing the best in the world right now. Scheffler has 3 wins this year. Cam Smith has 2. And we bet Cam Smith at the Masters every single year at 50 to 1, 80 to 1. And like, I can't do it now that he's 14 to 1.
Yeah, I'm just, I'd rather just take my chances on other guys, even in inflation. And I mean, the fact that they've done what they've done now means I can get Cantley at 25 to 1. And maybe I think at the Masters odds, Pat, I guarantee you the morning after Phoenix, Cantley's like 16, 18 to 1 to win the Masters, where he just lost in a second place again to Scheffler, having his resume, his form. That's the one I'm really looking at. Brooks, Rory, those are the ones I'm staring at. I had a deep eye for DJ, but now he seems Andercurst. Brooks, 20 to 1. Like, I don't think he's played this event healthy in a couple years. He is healthy right now. Tim made a point that I just wanted to get him off the line, I guess. I didn't really feel like counteracting. He only gave him credit for playing well in Phoenix. And I'll honestly spin this in a positive way. Brooks played well in Phoenix. He played well at the Honda, and he had a great match play. Phoenix and Honda are courses that he's either won or finished second at, and he likes, so he played well at them. And match play is a format that he truly loves and brings out the best at, and he played really well in that. All things line up for him. Like, Masters is a course he's liked. It's a finished second to Tiger Woods. It's his first time being healthy here in a couple years. He has all the trophies. This one is bigger than all of them because it's the one that history is just so important, and it's the one that brings you back time and time again. Having a hard time shaking him off. And I'm not a forever Brooks guy. I'm not a team Brooks guy. I'm okay to take my shots at Brooks, but I'm having a real hard time looking the other way. And I'm not like one of those Brooks fanboys. I'm not.
He missed the cut last year when he couldn't bend over. I think we ended up getting him at like 60 or 70 to 1. So we took the shot. And you know what? It was wasted money because he was not in any sort of shape to contend or even compete at the Masters. But he wanted to do it. It meant that much to him to come back and just give it a go. Before that, 7th, 2nd, 11th, 21st, 33rd. He had just been getting better every year than consecutive top 10s. I'm kind of with you. I had my list narrowed down to 4 guys from the top, and I need to get rid of probably 2 of them, I'm guessing, unless I just want to bet 3 of these guys and call it a week with Adam Scott, which sounds like it's dead money at this point. Rory was 1, Brooks was 1, Morikawa was 1, and Xander was the other one. But I don't like the 20 to 1. I just feel like those odds aren't good enough.
I'm waiting. That's the one I'm waiting out. I mean, at least Brooks, anecdotally, I'm seeing getting touted heavily because it's Brooks and it's the Monday of a major. Xander, if people are betting him, they're doing it like quietly and they're not talking about it. And I don't think many people are. That's one I'm waiting for a level of drift on. But I'm with you. I haven't red inked him, and I don't know. I'd like to see that cross 30 though. I really wouldn't. I think it's possible. I'm silly enough to think it's possible.
Yeah, the best number I can see on Xander right now is a 25. The best number I can find on Morikawa is 22. Just even looking at the draft, I think this really helps out when you think about betting as well, that the DraftKings ownership projections right now, still early in the week, by the way, and you can go to fantasynational.com/Mayo, get yourself 20% off, get those ownership projections, check out the simulator, do your research, generate your lineups. Betting, DraftKings, doesn't matter. All the stats are there for you. And if you just get the weekly, it's $8 with fantasynational.com/Mayo. You might want to check it out. I'm betting you're investing more than $8, so you might as well have tools to research and make your bets better. That would just be me, though. So fantasynational.com/Mayo. No one's using Morikawa. And listen, when you go and look at him, it doesn't look like he's going to win. He's not in the greatest form right now. But if he just comes out and plays like Colin Morikawa, could we just be having a British Open situation all over again? He's not going to stay at 20. He's going to drift. Like, I don't want to take that 22 because I think it gets better than that. And every time that he just starts falling down the board is the perfect time to bet him. He's won 2 of the past 8 majors.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could just bet Morikawa, Spieth, and Brooks.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, someone who I really, well, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I'm not betting Morikawa, but I kind of wanted to bet I made a joke to someone this morning, like, I bet money Pat is going to bet Morikawa. And I mean, who do you trust more? Let me ask you this, for the price difference, Justin or Morikawa, in the sense that you're asking for a spike putting week and they're just both, you know, the elite iron play you hope you can count on. And I'd probably rather bet Morikawa at 20 or 22 than Justin at 14 in that regard. But I don't know. I'm not there. Rory, Brooks, Cantley kind of have my attention a little more.
And that is going to be the sentiment, and I can't disagree with you on that. Obviously, Morikawa is my guy. He's made me a lot of money over the years, and I think that out of all of these guys, you know that Brooks is a closer at majors. Morikawa's shown he can do that too. Like, if he is on and he is in contention, he is absolutely nails. He almost came back and chased down Neiman at Riviera.
We might have been doing a cut. No, I don't think you might have been gone by then, but okay. I own it because we make some fun bets, make a lot of bad bets. The worst bet I made in 21 was Morikawa to miss the cut at the Open. He won the Open. And, you know, I don't remember who it was. I don't want to call it out. It could have been like a Kyle Porter tweet that kind of changed the course of history.
It's true. But listen.
Morikawa and the turf and all that. I think it was Kyle. I apologize to Kyle if it wasn't Kyle. I'm just like, all right. That being said, when he was in his position after Friday night, and I was like, well, I clearly have lost my bet, and now I honestly think he can win the whole thing. Like, once I was wrong, it didn't take me to Sunday to realize how wrong I could be. I realized pretty quickly he's in form. Everyone could be in big F in trouble. Let alone the fact that he got, Florida conditions at the course, to take nothing away. Yeah, you're right. The sentiment going off is the sentiment that can make you a lot of money. Read this inflated number, maybe even ownership, because he's in that price range. And there's just a lot of players that people seem to be pivoting around Morikawa for.
And your Justin Thomas comment is well said, because Morikawa and Justin Thomas, both not the best on the greens, but if they are good on the greens, it tends to be really good. The biggest difference between the two is JT's driving is not great. Morikawa's is not long, but it's very accurate. If he's now learned through his 2 Masters, made the cut both times, top 20 last year, that if he can get to his spots, then just let the world's best iron player go nuts. That's how you win at Augusta. Hot irons, accurate driving, and putting. We know that he can't chip, and that's really the biggest difference between him and Justin Thomas. It's going to be the same Hovland conversation that everyone has this week. But if they win, does it matter that they can't chip? Can they make enough chips to just say, you know what, I'm not going to bleed strokes around the greens. I'll just be around even. I'm going to make my putts and let the rest of my game take over, because that's what we're going to see. If Morikawa is slightly off the fringe and has to get it up and down from somewhere, now, is he going to be leaving himself 3-foot putts, or is he going to be leaving himself 12-foot putts? We feel like Vic is going to be leaving himself 12-foot putts. Morikawa, he can kind of go either way on this. Either the chipping and putting is good, or it's really bad. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. If he just shows up this week, no one's going to take him. I would wager we get a 25. I don't think it gets to 30 because he's still too high in the world rankings, and he has won 2 of the past 8 majors. But still, he's too, like, if Why Rory over Morikawa, I guess, would be my question. Rory's not playing good.
I don't really have an answer other than it's kind of personal preference. And to be honest, sometimes one of the reasons where I don't know, maybe part of me just wants to see the Grand Slam and cheer for that and get cocky and call Rory's win despite there being form. I haven't even made the bet yet, but there's certainly a case to be made against Rory and a strong one if you want to. But I just lean Rory. I don't know. I feel like it could be I just had a sentiment it could be a week for him here.
Best Brooks number I still see is a 25. I think
Brooks 25?
Yeah. I think I'm going to I will text you. It's not at DraftKings Sportsbook, so I will text you after the show. How about that?
Okay, yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay. You might want to click in not only on all the sites, but some of them do have bonuses, offers, and enhanced offerings. Sometimes just search through there and you can find a nice number. But I think even if it's 20-1, I feel like I'm going to end up doing it. We're all doing it. It's going to be really bad for all of us. That's how this turns out.
The Brooks, you're talking about, everyone's going to do it, and it's going to be bad?
Yeah.
That's probably right, but at least I'll have the peace of mind of not being the only guy not betting him, maybe.
I can see it. I mean, I get the FOMO nature of that. I don't know where I'm going to be. I am going to be on Morikawa. I'm always on Morikawa. And I do think I'm going to wait for a better number on that. Is there anyone else from this top that you think that you would want to bet? Like Cantlay, I'm with you. I don't know if I'm going to get there, though.
Well, we've just dismissed Dustin because he's cursed. Is that it? Or is he not sort of pointing perfectly for a player who's won here, for a player who consistently T10s here, whose game can just work here so well, for this time right now?
Hey,
we always talk about
in my column this week, I wrote it up that there are certain trends, and Hideki broke a lot of them last year. But if you just look back at the previous 9 winners, they all had 2 top 15 finishes in the previous 3 starts coming in. Even Tiger did in 2019. And the guys from the top of the board who qualify with that criteria, there's only 3 of them: Scheffler, DJ, and Brooks. Those are the only 3. It's nothing against DJ. Like I said, I need reasons to cross these guys off my list. Cameron Smith's number has never won a major. Odds are too short. Same as Scheffler. Odds are too short on Rahm. Justin Thomas, I think, is so much like Morikawa, I would just take the better odds. Dustin, he's ANDERCURSED. And I can get Brooks for 4 to 6 more points if I want to. These are the ticky-tack reasons, because you can't bet everyone.
Yeah. You're right. I just think in the sense that some of these players I classify as super elites, they sort of create their entire lives and schedules like an Olympian, except for once every 4 years, it's 4 times a year. And everything they do is to peak for this moment, like to set themselves up that when we get to this week, they're ready to play their best golf. And for all the sort of unknowns about Dustin a month ago, it seems like he is on that perfect trajectory to peak at the perfect moment. It really does.
Well, is Scheffler not done peaking?
I don't know. Life can't be that good for a guy. And I'm just like, now he's at this super elite price. He's number 1 in the world. You know, if I'm him, I hope Tiger plays. Let Tiger suck up so much oxygen. The fact that Tiger keeps delaying the news is probably sucking up oxygen. But for all these guys who have a storyline, it's probably good that Tiger sucks up the oxygen. And Cantley, if you just take out the players' statistics, which I think is totally fair based on his career at the Players, he could be top 3 in terms of like current form for how this sets up. Trust his bunker game. Top 5, I trust his around the green game. Like, there are a lot of things about Cantley that I trust. And for all the people that had to run to bet him when he looked so good in the fall, thinking there's no way you'd see the number, well, you know, here we are. The number's here. And I'm very, very, very interested.
He was good at the Century and in Phoenix. Obviously, he came 4th at Pebble and 9th at the Amex, but the irons were bad those weeks. The irons were bad at the Genesis. The irons were bad at the Players. He got stuck in the bad wave. Whatever. He wasn't good at the match play either. It's been since Phoenix, since Cantlay actually had a good run. That's a while ago.
Again, it's all part of there's not enough at 25 for me to do the cross off just yet.
I think that he's a cross off at 25 because I can see a few names that aren't necessarily comparable at double the odds or even 1.5 times the odds, but I would just rather take the deeper price on someone who's within, you know, a margin of error of Patrick Cantlay.
Okay.
So that's where
That's
I'm at.
fair. Listen, I haven't crossed off Xander. I'm just waiting on the big number there. And I think the only thing that's prevented us from getting it already is probably course history.
Course history, and it's early in the week. They can list these like terrible numbers on some, not terrible numbers, but they can list the not good numbers, and then they can wait and see where the money's coming in. And then if they need Xander action, it can be 25, it could be 30, whatever it might be. If they drop him down to 28, everyone's betting Xander Schauffele right away. That's happening.
Do you think? I don't know.
Yes.
I disagree with that.
People
I
love
disagree
it.
with
It'd be
that.
like if they dropped Finau to 100 to 1. No one wants to bet Finau at his number. Drop him to 100 to 1. Everyone in the world is betting Tony Finau.
A lot different.
Not really. I would give Xander a much better chance of winning. And people love to bet Xander. It's a reason that he kept being 18 to 1 at these things for 3 straight years.
I love betting Xander too.
Yeah, but you don't think that you finally get like a decent number at a major? Probably still the wrong number, but a decent number that's falling throughout the course of the week that people won't jump on that?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not certain people will jump on it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm one of those people. Like I sent a tweet this morning. Everyone just auto bets Brooks. The decision's so easy for them. Me, I love betting on guys who've never won majors. And that's a problem for me. And Xander kind of falls into that group. I think if it's 28, I don't know that people will be running to it.
Do you think people are going to bet Victor?
I don't know. I mean, I get it. When I bet Victor, I bet for the ceiling. And if you're betting Victor, you may as well bet him to win by a field goal because there's only one way it happens, and it's perfection. And it can happen. I believe that much in Victor. But if you need to rely on other things, it's just, I don't know. I don't know that I can trust it right now.
I kind of like it. I don't know why. Him and Spieth, I have this like weird attraction to looking at the board. I don't think Spieth's going to fall, but I don't think that Victor's going to be all that back this week. Maybe just go Morikawa and Hovland. Just let it ride. See what works.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I love Victor, and I think you could get perfection. But if you need your wedges to bail you out, you're in trouble. Even that last event a couple of weeks ago, was it Valspar? Did he play Valspar? No, it wasn't Valspar.
It was Valspar.
It wasn't match play.
It was Valspar.
Like he gets right into contention and then he needs a wedge and he makes bogey.
Correct.
It's like a rinse repeat. That being said, this isn't a Disney movie. Like just because it happened doesn't mean it can't not happen. I'm just saying if Victor wins, he's gonna train these guys.
So
it's gonna be perfect.
In the newsletter, the Sunday night newsletter that I put out, shout out to Nelson Adcock on that. You can follow Nelson on Twitter. You can also follow @CutSweats on Twitter if you're ever wondering about 6 of 6 percentage on DraftKings, the percentage of lineups, who's right on the cut line. He actually did his own strokes gain metrics for the Masters last year. I could only find the spreadsheet he sent me from the first 3 rounds. I don't think he sent me one afterwards. And I'm just looking at Vic right now. Remember Vic started with the triple bogey. He ended up playing pretty well throughout the course of the week.
Finished what, 21st or something?
Yeah, he lost with his irons last year. He was positive off the tee, positive around the greens, positive on the greens. Couldn't hit his irons. There are certain players that we've seen, Bubba Watson, I think, being the best example of this. Guys that just suck around the greens. And for whatever reason, at Augusta, they are fine. Maybe Vic can be one of those guys.
I hope so. I wouldn't be shocked because I believe in everything. He's already been to Butler Cabin. He's going to bring the orange to Butler that Ricky never could. It's just like that goes back to my original morning point. I could bet a guy I really want to win, or I can bet Brooks Koepka. I'd much rather see Victor Hovland win, I promise you.
Also looking at Morikawa. Morikawa gained around the greens and off the tee last year, lost on irons and putting.
How stupid do you feel if you bet Victor if Brooks wins?
Not really. I mean...
Okay, you're better than me then. You're better than me.
I don't take these... Jeff, I lose so much that I don't take things personally anymore.
I don't mean personally. It's like...
Tim Frank tweeted out that he had lost so much money on JJ Spawn, he just didn't have enough bankroll. It's a joke, obviously, to bet him when he wins. I'm in the same boat. It's not like we haven't been betting JJ Spawn over the past 4 years. I didn't get there. Did you get there?
No.
Yeah. Although the numbers... Listen, he won me a bunch of money on DraftKings. The numbers all pointed to him. I don't know why I didn't even consider him. I bet the Smother Man instead because I'm an idiot. I can't... If I let those things affect me, I'd be in a very dark place Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. It's just not good for your mental health.
No, I don't feel stupid when a lot of guys win. If Brooks wins, I'll feel like stupid because it was so obvious.
I think you can say that with any of the top 10. Let's say I'm the only one out there with a Morikawa bet and Morikawa wins. Aren't people going to feel stupid like, oh yeah, the guy who has won 2 majors in the past 2 years, the number 3 player in the world. I didn't even consider him. Like, wouldn't you feel stupid then?
He wasn't really high on my list. I wasn't really planning on betting him. It's all relative.
What if Scheffler wins? What if Cam Smith wins? Like, if any of these guys win, it's going to seem like it was obvious.
See, you're smarter than me. I don't know. That's why I told you I got the fingers. They're not firing this morning. It's Masters Monday. I don't know.
Okay. Let's go to the middle tier because I think this is, when we talked about all of the winning odds that have happened over the course of the past few years, this is where it's coming from. Big Will Z, last year's runner-up is 35-1. Without that stupid runner-up, he'd be like 50, 55. But here we are. Hideki is 35. I've seen him as low as 80 at some spots, so I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not betting him at 35. Russell Henley is 35-1. Not quite sure what the deal is here. Daniel Berger, 40. Bryson, 45. Louis, 45. Tiger will make an entire thing about here in a second, but he's at 50. Sammy Burns is at 50. Adam Scott, 55. We're already in at bigger numbers. I don't mind the 55 still. Fitzpatrick, 55. Leishman, cursed, 55. Tyrrell Hatton, 55. Lowry, 55. Connors, 55. Some of these guys are going to be 75 2 days from now. So just wait unless there's like the popular one that you really want. Casey coming off the injury. He's number 60. He had back spasms. He could be okay. He might not be okay. Finau, 65. Neiman, 65. Bubba's 65. Horschel, who has the worst Masters track record of any like non-octogenarian over the past 5 years, is 70. Good form coming in. Sungjae, Answer had the WD last week. Not sure why he WD'd. Never said. Reed, former winner, 80-1. Homa, Rose, Sergio, Fleetwood, C. Woo! Kim, my guy, is 90-1. Where do you want to go with this? Because I actually really like Zalatoris.
If Zalatoris had won any tournament in his life on the professional level, I'd already have bet him. I'm still thinking about betting him. I maybe want to bet him. I do want to bet him. The only thing that's blocking me there is the ask of your first ever win being the Masters feels like a really big ask. But again, like the silly part about that is had he won something stupid like some Subfield or some RSM or some Sanderson, I'd have already been like, he's done enough, bets in. I'd have already loaded up. He'd have been in my intro of bets that I have. Like would have already bet it and shopped it and found the best number I could on Will Zalatoris to win this event. So part of me feels silly. Like maybe I should just bet it. Because if all I would have needed was some stupid Subfield to make me feel better, like shouldn't Torrey Pine's second place count as the exact same?
Yes. So it was a lot like we talked about Finau all those years. Of course, he won Puerto Rico. But the discussion that we always had about him was when he wins, it's not going to matter where it is. It could be the biggest field in the world, and that was probably more likely that he would go outgun all the best players. And that's what he ended up doing in the playoffs last year. I kind of feel the same way about Zalatoris. Scheffler was a lot like that too. Like it didn't seem like it would ever matter. When he was going to win, he was just going to win. Major, WGC, shit tournament, didn't matter. He had those skills. And when I look at Zalatoris, yeah, of course the short putting is going to be a problem. But he's played well at all of sort of not necessarily the crossover courses, but the courses that we would consider Masters, heavy, Quail Hollow, Torrey Pines, Riviera. He has good track records at those. He has good track records at majors. He was second in his debut last year, putted really well on these greens, maybe too well, because that was carrying him. And I really believe in his around the green game. I think that he can get it done here. I don't know if 35, I found a 40 as well. Maybe 40, obviously 40 is a better number, but I don't know. He's sort of this weird guy on an island by himself because he's with Henley and Matsuyama. No one is betting those guys, right?
I'm not even consider. In terms of outright, it's red ink for me.
So
that's sort of where the red ink started. I didn't really put any red ink, in the 25 to 1s. I'll make a case, not make a case for any of them. Russell Henley, you model boys can have it. If I miss it, it's because I swung with big game hunters. If I miss this Matsuyama situation, I'm going to get burned like a lot of people this week in a lot of formats, in a lot of ways.
Are you waiting at all to see the weather report before making any bets or just don't care?
I haven't really made them anyway. I am seeing it's supposed to be pretty not fun though, right?
It looks like it's going to be windy at certain points, but it doesn't look like it's raining or it's going to be cold, although there's the sub-air system, so it doesn't really matter. I should mention that holes 11 and 15 got changed. Do you see were you watching the women's event at Augusta over the weekend? Did you see what they did to 11?
They made it 21 yards longer.
No, that's the par 5 15th that they made longer. It's 20 yards longer for the Masters setup this year. The one where you have to go over the water. The one where Jason Duffner cost me like $3,000 by going into the water twice.
Yeah, where it runs off the back also into water.
Yeah,
hit it too sharp.
Hideki
did that last.
Hideki did it last year. But number 11 is like the most difficult hole on the course. It's the one that it's flat, and then it takes like the hook to the left. There's the pond to the left, and like Fred Couples used to just like bounce it down the right side, knew the right mound that would roll onto the green. But on the right-hand side, there was this like cluster of trees, and now they're gone. They just left 3 of the trees. So you can miss a bit more right and angle in that way and just pray that you don't get stuck behind like one of these 3 random trees. It looks like a much easier shot down that hill if you can get into that position. So I think that's going to be, I don't think it's going to play a huge factor, but that's like the major discrepancy in the course this year from in years past. If you check out the newsletter, I have the link to the article in it. It's just kind of neat to go look at. And it was all a buzz on Twitter on the weekend too. Bryson, Louis, yeah, if this wasn't Sam Burns' first Masters, wouldn't he be like perfectly set up for this?
Yes. He checks almost every box other than that debutante box, but let's rein this in a little, Patrick. They're just built different now. From the quarterbacks to the Major League Baseball players to your top NBA picks, these kids, they are so different. The last 2 Masters, we've had a debutante finish second. Feels like a matter of time before one of these amazing players just can win the event. Does it not?
It does.
I'm not betting Sam Burns, but I have the utmost faith in him. If Sam Burns on a Sunday had to go against two of those guys in the 20s and the teens for a win, like he has this like, not comparing him to Reed, but he just has this like confidence that like I really back that I think I like exudes through the TV. That's my own perception. And I would trust him in a big moment versus one of the top players on earth. That's what makes it easy to make the bet. I'm not really there though in actually clicking the bet.
I just keep staring at it. Like 50 to 1's a really good number. Like Fuzzy Zeller's the last debutant to win. You mentioned last year Zalatoris was second. Never really, although he finished one back, it's not like he was ever really in the running on Sunday.
But still second.
I know, still second, but like Sung Jae came second in the Dustin Johnson Masters. He had absolutely no chance to win because Dustin Johnson broke the scoring record. So
you're right, but it's still a far cry from like debutants are red ink.
Yes and no. Like Spieth finished second at his first Masters, then he won the following year. Berger was inside the top 10. His only actually good performance ever at Augusta National was that year.
So
like, it happened. Like Bobby Matt. Like last year, there was only 3 debutantes in the field. Ortiz missed the cut by 1,000,000. Zalatoris came second, and Robert McIntyre came 12th.
So I guess this would be my way of even like for a lot of the debutants, like people used to just write them off. They might not need a win, but they can play great. They can make great prop money for you. They can, I don't mean top debutant prop. I mean, placing props. They can hit their each ways. There's a lot of things they can do. They should no longer just kind of be ignored. Not to say the people watching this show are ignoring them, but yeah. And there's a few like, I don't know if Tom Hoagie's in the fairway. Like this place could work out very nice for him. It's a nice list of debutants. Seamus Power, the way he's been hitting that second shot. I liked you catching Tambo thinking it was a heavy hitter like myself.
Those guys aren't winning. Sam Burns could win.
Okay, you're right.
Sam Burns
This is a show about wins. I've kind of left the wins to just sort of do a debutant rant. I might be rostering them. I like a few of them.
Sure. And on Wednesday's live chat with Tambo, we'll go through all of the finalized DraftKings implications. Rick Gaiman and I are going to go player by player tomorrow from a DraftKings perspective to talk about these guys. But in terms of like, we're talking about wins. We're talking about betting here. Burns shortlist, Zalatoris probably. I'm thinking about Hatton as well. I gave you those stats earlier about the top 15 finishes. Hatton actually fits that mold, and he has actually lost some of the most strokes at Augusta over the course of his career. But he was 18th a year ago. He finally turned in a good performance. If it's going to be a little bit windy, he just feels like a weird intangibles type player. Like he's better than Danny Willett is because he can get all 4 facets of his game going. Now, usually if his ball striking is bad, he makes it up with putting. If the ball striking is good, he doesn't putt. But he could cobble all those things together. And I've just seen him win enough big tournaments in his career over the past 4 years, all around the world, that it seems like his game's coming back now after having a little bit of a lull for 12 months.
So I agree with everything you said. You even highlighted it. We finally got that T20 last year. I'm here to sort of set us in the right direction. I don't mind him at all. I think that's a number that, well, probably could probably even wait to get bigger. So I like Hatton. I think I bet him at last year's Masters looking at my notes, so I could get right back on the wagon. I actually might have bet him at all 4 majors last year. It wasn't a great plan. Berger as well is a guy that I'm not ignoring, Pat.
Berger goes the other way at the Masters, though. Like he started off real hot, and he's been crap ever since.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to overrate that, although maybe people should.
There is something to good recent Masters form, like for the winners. That's a real thing.
Yeah, I totally believe that. It doesn't, I don't know. I'm an idiot. Like, let's just clear that out. Like, I have got to get that Men in Black machine and zap any preconceived notion I might have about Daniel Berger maybe in my head. Like me, Daniel Berger's this great match play player. He's been playing match play since he was 10 years old on those Florida greens, just taking grown-ups' money. He's taking semi-pros' money. I don't know, his Ryder Cup and match play records are goddamn abysmal. Like, abysmal. He's never advanced out of pod play. He's been bad in the special team play. I don't know. Maybe I have held Berger in a higher regard than he deserves.
Jeff,
Jeff,
you want to see the first Jewish man don the green jacket. I get it.
That would be good. That would be good. But it does feel like his game is kind of in a right place in some respects at the moment. So he's a guy like Hatton I haven't crossed off. We've already we've discussed Adam Scott enough over the last 2 months. We need to discuss him today. But even Shane Lowry and Matthew Fitzpatrick are names without red ink, as we've sort of crossed 50 to 1 for me, Pat.
I'm with you. The only guys that I'm looking at besides Siwoo, who obviously I'm just going to have a FOMO bet on. Hopefully he doesn't break his putter this year. That would be helpful. But this is the best consistent form Siwoo has ever had entering the Masters.
I agree.
He's not withdrawing or bottoming out. He makes the cut basically every year at this event. He's always sniffing the leaderboard at some time. And you just know that once a year, he puts it all together. And if it's here, I think that he could win. So that's why I'm going to bet him to win. But I'm going to wait for his number to get a little bit better too. So the guys that I haven't crossed off from this list from 100 to 1 and down, you kind of mentioned them all. I like Zalatoris. I'm probably going to bet, but Burns, Scott, I already bet. Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, Shane Lowry, and the only other one is Neiman.
Okay, yeah. Finau.
No.
I don't mind Neiman. He could be a bit of a wizard. I do want to touch on your Siwoo thing. He might be the only player outside of our early Thomas Peters nibbles that maybe we don't need to discuss. That's going to flirt with 100 to 1 that I am truly interested in betting. He has nice Masters history, and he can just get so hot with the irons and hit those perfect spots that maybe it's just the osmosis of being friends with you and doing the shows with you that I actually believe he could do it. So going that deep, he's really the only player that I am thinking about. In terms of in front of that, yeah, we kind of hit on a lot of the same players. Shane Lowry just been playing so solid. I do wish I was getting a bigger number, though, to be betting Shane Lowry to win this, but this is always now the number for Shane Lowry in these sorts of events. The books don't let it get too deep. Matt Fitzpatrick, shouldn't I just trust Will Zalatoris more for 10 less points potentially?
I don't know.
Even though I really do like how things are lining up for Fitzpatrick, and he seems like an evergreen condition player. The weather gets to shit. He's fine. He's great. If the weather's fine, he's fine.
Yeah, he's a guy that gives you outs, and so does Shane Lowry, and so does Hatton, I think, from that regard too. Where in ideal conditions, maybe they're not set up the best to win, but theoretically they could win. But their chances, at least in my mind, get a lot better the worse the weather gets.
I don't like making outright bets on that either, though.
But that's not why I would be betting them. I would be betting them because of their form, what they can do. I think they can just go out and win. It would be an added benefit that if the conditions got really crappy, that all of a sudden these Euro guys are just hitting low stingers around the course, rolling it up, just playing that sort of game.
Fitzpatrick, I always just find when he gets into contention and it's late, his game just abandons him. But
he has been putting it all, he has a good Masters track record anyway, but just his performance so far this year, he and Shane Lowry, since he came over at Pebble Beach to America, 6th, 10th, 9th, missed cut at the Players, 5th at Valspar. Then you take a look at Shane Lowry. He played his first event at the Honda, 2nd, 13th, 12th, in full stroke play tournaments, not the match play. The match play is weird. You can take whatever you want or nothing away from the match play if you want, but both these guys are playing great. They fit that criteria of the top 15 finishes coming in. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is the range, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. This is sort of that range. Yeah, I don't know if I'll actually get there on Fitzpatrick. You mentioned it when Tim was on. Is his first major off Louis in years maybe the ultimate go sign for Louis?
It might be. I mean, I know that's all Jeff Ulrich needed to be in. He was probably in already, but 45 to 1 as high as 55 in some spots. He's not playing great coming in, but I don't think that matters for him.
It doesn't. We've probably passed the demarcation point, at least by Brooks Koepka's standards. We've certainly passed it, Pat. Sung J M, any trust, 75-1.
It's a great number, but again, he would be a first-time winner, and he's playing like absolute garbage.
A first-time winner? What do we mean?
Like a first-time major winner.
Yeah. What?
I would want to see him in some better form coming in, is what I'm saying.
Okay, speaking of form, I don't know that it's hard to talk anyone into actually making the bet, but Patrick Reed demolished John Rahm with birdies on the Friday of match.
So what you're saying is that he had one good round in 2022.
No, he wasn't horrible at the Players.
He wasn't good at the Players.
I was hoping we would see, I guess it's because it's just the shrunken field. I was hoping we would see the full field Patrick Reed numbers this week, because I probably would have bid on one of them. When they got to triple digits and such.
I'm not doing it. I would rather bet Sergio and Rose than Reed right now.
Okay, so I was actually going to ask you about that contingent of Euros.
I'm not going there.
No, but if you had to just have a preference, like Rose, Sergio, Tommy, who's been striking it well, not win, but he can prop market your way into maybe some nice things the way he is striking it. And if my book wants me to bait me on Tiger Woods, just throw me a Fleetwood plus money v Tiger for the week, okay?
I don't know about that. I would prefer, actually, I like Robert McIntyre and his odds the best, but Sergio would be my preference of that group. I think we've waited long enough to talk about Tiger, so we should probably do that. I think that he is going to play, and I think he's going to be pretty good. I'm not going to bet him to win at 50-1, but I've seen an enhanced offering up to 7-1 on his top 10. He is not playing in the Masters and shooting an 81. He just wouldn't play. If he's going to show up...
But he would play to shoot a 75.
Maybe he would do that. Tiger's never missed the cut as a professional at Augusta. He's not going to jeopardize that because he just wants to get back out there. That's not happening. If he is playing, I don't think that he's like Tiger Woods, y'all, but he's going to be a pretty good player out there. And if you start targeting him in head-to-heads with bums like Tommy Fleetwood, you're going to get what's coming to you.
Listen, I'm not looking to pick on him. But if there's a row of plus money head-to-heads versus Sergio, Fleetwood, like all those guys who I assume if Tiger's 60-1, they'll probably make the head-to-heads versus the 80-1s. I'm not betting him to miss the cut. I'm not interested. But I think that his expectations might not be as high as yours. I could see him sort of just seeing things differently. I don't think he's showing up to shoot 80. I don't think that is possible. But I think he might see success this week differently than you. Being able to shoot a 75 and feel good enough to go play the next day, I think could be... People might think I'm insane for saying
if that was what he considers a success this week, he wouldn't play the fucking event.
I disagree.
He's plus 120 to make the cut. I like that.
I disagree. Almost might have not had a leg. I think just things have maybe kind of changed. I don't think he sees himself as the geriatrics either. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he sees himself as Zach Johnson going to gag it sideways off a tee. But I think a successful week for him might be different than a lot of people think it would be.
I am not there on that. And he might come out and suck and not have it. Like, that's possible. But I think he's a good enough evaluator of his own talent and knowing where he's at that I don't think that he would ever come to a tournament that in the back of his mind, he didn't think that he couldn't win. I honestly believe that.
I disagree.
Because he wouldn't make it the Masters if that was the case.
No, the Masters is happiest place on earth.
Yeah, but it's also the most competitive field of the year as well. Like, if you really wanted to come back and just kind of lollygag around, he would have played something over the past.
I'm not picking on him. I'm not picking on him.
You just wanted to bet Tommy Fleetwood against him.
They gave you good enough plus money. But he could still make the cut. He could make I'm not picking on him to miss the cut. If they gave me a consortium of 5 players that I like at plus money to beat him, he could even beat
Why
He
why
can
do you
beat
think
two
that they're
of
going to
them.
why
I'd
do
still
you
win
think that they're
money.
going to give you plus money? I'm looking at the odds right now. Tommy Fleetwood's minus 200 to make the cut. Tiger Woods is plus 120.
No, in a head-to-head versus Tiger.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You think in that head-to-head, I'm pretty sure Tommy's going to be favored. You get
Okay,
Tiger
I don't
at
know.
plus
One
money.
of them's 90 to 1 to win. One of them's 50 to 1 to win. I'm saying I'm curious how they're going to make that market. And if they give me Fleetwood at plus money, then I'm going to make the bet. But I probably wouldn't get that. But I'm going by the outright market. One guy's 50, one guy's 90. I don't know that it would have been a crazy comment to say, maybe I'm going to get a nice plus money on that player.
You
They
know
probably
that,
wouldn't
but
even give me
you
that.
know that's not how it works with Tiger. They're going to inflate his outright win number to whatever they want because people are going to bet it. They
Okay,
could
so
they
then
could
we'll
make
see.
it
Then
they
I'm
could,
not
they
gonna
could make
pick
it
on 'em.
20 to 1 and people would bet it.
Then I'm not going to pick on them. But I said if they were giving plus money versus those soiree of Europeans behind him in the odds, I would play every single one of them. I wouldn't plan on winning every one of them, but I think I'd win more than I'd lose, and I wouldn't hate myself when he made the cut either and look great.
I might book those bets with you anyway if you want to do them at even money.
Well, we could talk about it. We can see. I just don't. I could just see this being his expectations and what quantifies a good week being different than the rest of us.
Long shots.
Or then
Very quickly on the long shots. See, Kim is going to be on the card 100%. From before, earlier on in the year, I have Thomas Peters and I have Robert McIntyre. I'm still going to roll. I'm going to roll with him. I've already made the bets. Probably wouldn't bet Peters today, but I still would bet Bobby Mack. I like having a few fun long shots, and mainly it's for the placement odds. The top 8 odds, the top 10 odds, whatever the each way is at your books. But honestly, that's it for me. Although Taylor Gooch is like 130 to 1 or something, and he's $8,900 on DraftKings.
Oh, yeah, so we didn't even bring him up with the debutants either. It's a nice group. It's a nice group of debutants this year. Again, the only triple digit that I'm flirting with would be Siwoo.
Yeah, this isn't a long shot type tournament. It just isn't.
Yeah, BC Woo. I don't really care much. We're long past the demarcation point. I get how you could make a case for like battle tested Europeans like a Sergio, like a Rose, if you want. They'll have some big numbers, but once we're past the demarcation point, you have to almost like, it almost has to be like a Sergio or Rose type for me to believe they can do it. Or a super ceiling kid, I get to your point, like a Bobby Mack. But I'm not here for any of these games. Like I'll roster Bizet and hope, but there'll be no bets there.
Yeah, top 40 bet, top 30 bet, top 20 bet. If I was going deep down the board, it would actually be Cam Champ and Luke List would be the two I would go to.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Champ.
And what is
Champ has gone 26th, 19th in his 2 appearances at the Masters.
And like, who is Ryan Palmer's dad that he keeps getting these Zurich partners?
There must be something to it. We'll have, maybe that's what we can do for Zurich week, because that's not a fun week. We can really try to dig in and do some investigative journalism of why he only plays with the number 1 player in the world as his partner.
Yeah, because didn't he even play with Spieth before Rom?
I believe yes.
I think one of them he won a bet versus Greller or versus Rom's caddy. Like it was a caddy game, and the caddies had to let their player know that they were group. But
that was with Rom's caddy, and then they won together.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess he's like the godfather of the event, and if you want access, you got to be his partner. Something weird there. Yeah, we're long past. You said Luke List.
Yeah.
What's his number peaking at?
It's 180 to 1 right now. You can find even deeper than that. I'm not going to bet him outright to win, but as a top 10, like he's from the area. He played this like 15 years ago or something crazy like that.
No, he is from the area. He's probably got his reps in plenty. This is a big one. So I'm real happy for Luke in that regard. Cameron Young. I know this is an outright show, so it's silly to bring him up, but well, like a lot of people, I'm really, really into this guy, Patrick.
Me too. I keep saving for DraftKings, saving for top 40 bets, stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. But it's a fun, like I said, it's a great.
maybe if you're looking for a top debutant, that's the guy.
Yeah, it could be at the back of the pack number. And again, it's a really fun list of debutants this year, Varner included.
Yeah,
Hoagie.
I mean, I'm not too interested in. I know he gave you free tickets to things, but to win the Masters and at
I
the
said
Masters?
fun. I didn't say great.
Well, what's fun? The guy's probably gonna miss the cut.
No, he just no comment. No comment. Is Van Rooyen a debutant?
No, he played in the November Masters, but he ended up withdrawing that year. Like during the course of the events, he got hurt or something.
Okay.
Right.
I don't think I have anything left to say. I kind of just got to make the decision at the top and on Willie.
All right, well, let's go to quick picks then. For the 2022 Masters, my final betting card will be revealed on Wednesday's live show, and you can always find it in the newsletter on Wednesday evenings. You can subscribe to that for free right now down in the description. I'm going to wait for the Morikawa number, but I am going to bet Morikawa. 22, good enough for me, but Morikawa will be on the sheet. Will Zalatoris is going to be on the sheet 40-1 or potentially a little bit better. I got Adam Scott at 70-1. Bobby Mack and Peters from way before, would not really condone betting them right now. Kim at 100-1. I'll play that with the each way as well. So those four are where I'm at right now. I'm looking at that Hatton, Lowry, Fitz range. Probably Hatton is what I'm guessing. And then I got to make a decision between Spieth, Rory, Brooks, like that level of guy. There is going to be another one of those guys on my card. But I got time here and I have to make all my decisions on a Monday morning, Geoff.
Yeah, again, I feel like I have the yips in terms of being able to make a bet. And the only bet I have is Adam Scott 80 and Peters, I don't know, 125 or 150. I'm not proud of it, but it's in the pendings. And the Ontario government didn't take it away from me this morning either.
How nice.
Maybe I wouldn't have minded that one back. I'm having a real hard time. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of just waiting to see how the books react. I'm not totally afraid of losing anything. I've talked through it all. Brooks, Rory, Cantley, and I never cross Vic off to the end, like, because it's just so hard for me. And I don't know, like there might be a number that could get me on Rahm, but we're not really close to it yet. Like 14 would be a starting point. 16 would maybe be a fire, but I don't know that anyone would actually give that to me. I want to bet Willie Zalatoris. I talked myself into it because if it's as simple as Willie Zalatoris at 40-1, and if he had the Sanderson Farms or any other win, good, bad, ugly, I'd have already bet it. I have to count the Torrey Pines playoff loss as equal to that in this noggin. So we're going to make that bet.
One and done picks for the Masters. Cust has already put the Andercurse on to Dustin Johnson. That's his one and done. I am going to be selecting Jon Rahm as my one and done for the Masters. Who are you taking?
Give me Rory McIlroy.
Rory for Geoff. All right. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Remember, rate and review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, something you enjoy about the show. Twitter handle or email down in the review, and you're in the draw for that Masters swag. Pick number 1 gets their first draft pick of what they want. Number 2, number 3. It'll be that easy. Sub to the newsletter on Monday evening. You can see the pictures and sizes of everything that are in there, plus all of the hot links that you need, like the DraftKings listeners link down in the description. You can find all of the other shows up on Mayo Media Network right now, so go sub to that. Geoff, what do you got going on the rest of the week?
Oh, busy week. Should learn to say no, but my video with Odds Checker and Rick Gaiman coming out later on Monday. I'm going live with the boys at BetSperts on Tuesday morning. I'll have a Wednesday video at Odds Checker, and I'm sure a bunch of other guest sheets that I've written down and have reminders in my phone not to forget.
You can follow Geoff on Twitter at gfienberg17. You can find all that information from when he's going to appear on things. And we'll probably have the Cut Sweat on Friday as well, so you can tune into that live on Mayo Media Network. I'll be back Tuesday with Rick Gaiman going player by player for the Masters field. But until then, I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Tim Andercust.
Not my name.
Well, they're not going to hear that part.
Well, I thought I would just say it just in case.
And by the way, Tim thinks you get to see too much Masters on TV, by the way.
I don't think I ever said that. I've always thought that I don't care what the Masters does. If they want to just show me the back nine and just the back nine, I'll live with it. If they want to show me every single shot on the face of the earth, I'll live with it. I don't criticize the Masters. I think you're not paying a dime to watch the Masters. You're not paying a dime to watch the Masters. Beggars can't be choosers. I'll watch whatever or however little they give me.
It's fucking nuts.
U.S. Masters.
Experience!